This station is from a stream to a flowing river. This station is growing bigger and bigger. This station is for all the garrison. No other station in comparison. The Badass station is everywhere. Even when you're shopping, you can find these places. Tesco, Lidl, Sainsbury, and even Morrison. JahBunny station. No stress, no pain, and no altercation. JahBunny Badass.
Shut up, no man. He's a fucking idiot or what? You think the system just exists without individuals or individuals without, or the system is something that is living on its own? Are the people them were involved in that, the rich white man them were have the business around the music industry, the film industry, the whole of them are the system. It's kind of retard you be boom Donovan, but you know no sense, man.
Death Row by Maria Hector. 12. The Business, narrated by JahBunny, the Badass, the man from Buzzwalk. 4 soldiers remain on the landing. All the rest had gone towards the oval. I was standing, leaning against the rail, rapping with one of the soldiers, when the Prime Minister suddenly appeared at the top of the stairs, not 2 feet away, followed by Father Halloween Harry, Dr. Lloyd Barnett, Chairman of the Jamaica Council for Human Rights, and the Reeve R.I. Nelson of the Jamaica Council of Churches. Good morning, sir. Recovering my pose. Good morning, replied the Prime Minister, echoed by the others. Immediately, they were peeping down the passage at the scene. Mattresses from the cells were torn and the core scattered about the place. Down in the middle of the passage, Warder Clark sat down, 2 brothers armed with knife, his feet securely tied. The cell door were thrown open, pieces of broken lock and metal were scattered over the wall. One brother had the goon hat on and a riot button stuck in his waist, and there was nothing on the face of the youth that moved about the passage to suggest a joke. What are you boys up to? Where's the warder? Asked the Prime Minister. No, nobody come with them boy business there. You hear, sir? Interject a brother at the rear. Well, sir, I began, we are just demonstrating against the condition of injustice and oppression, doing so in such a manner because all other method and channel have failed. The water is down the passage safe and sound. All we want is to put our predicament before you and have your initiate the necessary machinery to afford us redress. Are you the spokesman? Yes, sir. All right, I am here. Release the warder and I will discuss the matter with you afterward at the office. However, I make you no promise except that there will be no reprisal. I will not talk with you until the warder is released. With that he was gone, having been Rev Nelson and Dr. Lord Barnett. Immediately upon his departure, a serious incident arose. Contingent under conditions set by the Prime Minister, some were dead against releasing the hostage until after we had spoken to the Prime Minister. It could be a trick, they advanced. After all, were we not dealing with Babylon? It could be a trick to deceive us from our position. One guy, now deceased, moved toward the hostage, threatening to kill him. If we had not held and disarmed him, who knows what he might have done. We decided to have a vote over it. Reverend Nelson saw the happening and called me. Mario, I know you can influence these men. If anything happened to the warder, you are responsible. So, why me, Rev? I asked. Because I know you can bring him out. I am advising you to go down there and bring him out. The Prime Minister is here. He had given his word. Bring out the warder and I give you my word that your grievance will be heard. Why me, Rev? I asked again, but did not get a reply. I was thinking about our position, and it was true. The Prime Minister had come. He had given his word, and was awaiting word from us. It would be unnecessarily provocated to press our hand. Of course, it could be a trick, but that was a gamble we would have to take if we were to gain our objective. I returned to the council. The vote was in favor of releasing the hostage, and 5 of us, not 3, would go to see the Prime Minister. After our departure, the rest would lock themselves in and await our return. An agreement reached, the hostage was untied. I return his belonging, money, ratchet, button, and his cap. The lock were taken from the gate, and our little group stepped out. In the sunlight, the gate slammed shut behind us. We came out in a ring around the warder. He was still our ticket, and we want him where we could reach him before the crowd of goons could reach us. In this manner, we proceed toward the office, surrounded by a huge crowd of soldiers, police, and goons. Prisoners were on their cell top, shouting down to us as the procession went by. Tell Michael Manley, say, the boy Tom Surridge is a sadist. Go away, police boy. Do not make him trick you, Freddy. The shouts were antagonistic to the goon, especially one rushed from the crowd and slammed a button across my shoulder. Immediately an arm went around Warder Clark's neck, holding a wicked-looking knife. It was a standoff. The prisoner in the cell kept shouting insult at them. A top officer intervened and the procession moved on. This time, the arm with the knife remained around the goon neck. If they kill us, then he would also die. Finally, we were at the office entrance. where we were separated from the crowd. The knife was taken from the brother and we were searched and sent upstairs. Upstairs we were searched and given seat to await the Prime Minister. Our chaplain, Father Harry, was there. We were in the superintendent's office. Soon afterward, the Prime Minister came in, shook on all around, and was seated in the superintendent's chair. Behind him stood his security man. To his left was his wife, and his right was some police bigwig, the commissioner, Tom Surridge, and this man Smith, who was the Prime Minister advisor. Behind us stood a row of cops, while Father Henry, Reverend Nelson, and Dr. Barnett stood behind us. Business began. We were invited to state our argument. As the designated spokesman, I began in my own layman way. I outlined the inherent injustice in the law and judiciary, dealt with the unconstitutionality of my own sentence, and 7 others on the row. I outlined that Michael Bernard case, the goon might raid the nonchalance of church and state to our cries of injustice and the brutality, degradation, and repression to which we were collectively subjective. The Prime Minister's wife was crying openly. She had never been exposed to such a situation and seems unaware that such conditions, as I explained, exist in Jamaica. Where their rapt attention. One after the other, all 5 of us explained the sorrow and suffering of our predicament. And it was plain that they were all touched by our account. The room was tension-packed as we exposed the gruesome fact of our existence. No stone was left unturned. The Prime Minister, for his part, explained his government position on human rights and oppression and expressed sympathy for condition. After his usual political rhetoric, he got down to the main point. How could redress be promoted? We had come well prepared for that. As soon as it came around to my turn to speak, I state our position. Sir, whether or not you want, you could not redress yourself, not to this volume of problem. We believe there is only one thing to be done. We would like a commission of inquiry to investigate our individual case of the collective situation. It is of great importance that this commission be of people that we can trust, people near to the life of the people and our surrounding. We would like Reverend Nelson, Dr. Barnett, and Father Harry to be included in this commission. We can trust these people and they knew the problem. The Prime Minister said nothing to Dr. Barnett and returned to us. Very well. I shall look into the matter and you will be informed of my decision. In the meantime, I want you boys to go back to your cell and behave yourself. With that, he rose from his seat, signaling the end of the meeting, and came around to us. Once again, he shook hands all around. followed by his wife. Afterward, the Prime Minister went to address the goons, and we were returned to the row. On the way back, prisoner and every black were on the cell top. Showing clenched fists, and shouting slogan. On the row, our return sparked a great excitement. The brothers opened the gate to the passage and pour on us. Everybody want to shake our hand and find out what happened. After we relay the good news, a shout went up, and for the first time I noticed everyone was smiling. From the very beginning, there were many interests that sought to deliberately misrepresent this intent of purpose of our action. The press claimed that it was an abortive attempt by prisoners to break out of Gibraltar maximum security block, and that motor car to rush escapee out of the old capital were moving around the prison area an hour before the discovery. Director Gosmore said he were trying to break out a mess, and that our primary aim was probably to overcome the night staff and have a massive breakout. There were even some stupid one who claimed our aim had been to kill the warder. The Honorable Michael Manley, Prime Minister, announced that steps had been taken to set up a commissioner of inquiry to investigate the circumstances surrounding the incident. The commissioner was duly appointed with a term of reference to inquire into any report upon the cause and circumstances surrounding the incident, which occurred at the St. Catherine District Prison on the 27th of December 1974, involving the inmate of the high security block, and to make such recommendation as may be considered appropriate thereto. The Commissioner of Inquiry was headed by Dr. Lord Lloyd Barnett, with Reverend R.I. Nelson, Lieutenant Colonel Carl Jameson being the other member. Mr. Paul Dobson was named secretary. When 1974 came to a close, at least we now had something to hope for in 1975. From the very moment our delegation returned from the discussion with the Prime Minister, we were all conscious that the relationship between staff and prisoner has deteriorated to open hostility. It was the general opinion of the goons that we had committed the worst sin, an act of collective blasphemy, that we had, by our determination, attacked them personally by attacking the penal system. The prison service was their life, past, present, and future. The cell and bar and baton and corruption that was the prison had become an extension of their collective personality. To say anything against their precious prison was like kicking them in the ass with an iron boot. They were outraged at what we had done and vow to the gods that they would have their brutal revenge. The only thing that held them back was the upcoming Commission of Inquiry. None of them want their name brought before the Commission, and they knew we would not hesitate to bring any evidence of their sadism before the inquiry. Like vulture, they watch and wait. One day the inquiry would end. The prisoners, the prisoners on the other hand, saw the whole thing as a big victory. For years, Babylon, the whole damn perverted system, via its rules, regulation, norm, and goons, had been sucking our lifeblood, torturing us, brutalizing and hanging us when they drag away Sinclair, Reed, Ferran, Marks, Edward, Glenn, Shorty, and the rest to the gallows. It was our back that bore the weight and the scars of the night raid, our soul that were arrested, hammered about, and chained by the rules, norm, and goons, our present that was being strangled, our future made into nothing by this heuristic and repressive system. So we had rebelled. None of us had any regrets. The fact that the goon constructed our demonstration as a personal kick in the ass was not worrying. They had been needing more than a kick in the ass for years. That we had delivered a kick and it hurt was not a worrying thought. For by then, the entire penal system had moved into the most violent wave of protest in its history.